Hello, my friends. We're going to talk about the new moon in the sign of Sagittarius. It's on December 1st. If you're on the west coast of the United States and further west, it is on November 30th. We're going to talk about this new moon. We have a lot to talk about with this new moon because we have the new moon and it squares Saturn. It's opposite Jupiter, while Mercury is retrograde. And within a couple days of this new moon, Mars goes retrograde. There is a ton to talk about. Let's grab that. I'm going to share that screen with you. And while I'm doing that, I just want you to know the full blog, the written blog is on my website. Get on my newsletter email list, and I will send it to you in your inbox. You'll be notified when that happens. All right. And I'm not a mass marketer, so don't be worried about that. It's just me. I don't have anything. They're very little automated as well. So I'm the one who does all the paperwork and all the stuff. Let's get started. This is what that new moon looks like. Here it is right there with Mercury retrograde. They're a little ways apart, but that's okay. Square Saturn, opposite Jupiter. So let's get started. So what we have, you know, every time we have a new moon, I just wanted to pause for a second. I wanted to dive right into the new moon, and we will talk about that, but I want to talk about the time before the new moon, because that includes Thanksgiving here in the United States. That includes the balsamic moon in Scorpio. So before we dive into the new moon Sagittarius, I want to cover the energy of that balsamic lunar phase. And that occurs usually 2, 3 days before every new moon. And this time, what we have is we have that period, that balsamic period is a period to slow down, to reflect, to clear. So we have space to bring in new before the new moon. However, this balsamic lunar phase also has the moon in its fall. It is not comfortable in the sign of Scorpio. And I say that because when the moon is in Scorpio, fixed water sign, we're required and we feel like we need to go deeper. It's an intense place for the moon to be. And so especially if you're somebody who works with the new moon, I want you to spend some time clearing for those few days before. So that new moon, that balsamic moon in Scorpio starts on the 27th. It starts on Thanksgiving. Yeah, it starts on Wednesday, the 27th, and goes all the way through Thanksgiving and all in through all of Friday and early in the morning on Saturday, the 30th, moon in Scorpio. That first off, to have a moon in Scorpio on Thanksgiving, since the family comes together, that can be pretty tricky, because families already have dynamics. We all know what it is for us. Some families are fantastic. You don't have anything to worry about. But some families have difficulties, and things have been pretty contentious in the country these days. And so, as we are approaching this new moon on December 1st, while the moon is balsamic in the sign of Scorpio especially the Thanksgiving Day, the 28th and the 29th, it's about taking that deeper step. It's about, what do I want to address? Do I want to do that with family? Do I really want to go and dig in deep with family? Because families are typically the ones that put the deepest wounds in us. That's just the nature of it for a lot of people. So with Thanksgiving, with the moon balsamic Scorpio, I want you to consider, is that important for you? Because it will and it can stir up a lot of deep psychological themes. If you're willing to work on those things, it's a blessing if you're willing to work on it, because the moon is in that phase and that sign. It means the universe is behind us to start to bring some things to the surface, to clear the deck. Yes, that's a nautical term, to clear the deck of anything that needs addressing and facing. If you feel like doing shamanic journeying, perfect time for it. If you want to do some shadow work, that is wonderful too. It's ideal time for all of that. But do you want to do it with family? That is the question that you need to ask yourself. So if you can go to your families and do your family thing at Thanksgiving, and you're not going to have a big issue, fine. If you want to do that and you want to bring up big issues that have been lifelong stuff, that can be a problem, but it could be a healthy thing for you to do too. We each have the responsibility of what's going on in our own lives, and you get to choose if you want to address that, or in a good way, in a healthy way. You can just blow everything up. That's what we get to feel on those few days before the new moon, right? I feel if we can do our own shadow work even before we go, even if you were to do this ahead of time, that's okay because you're hearing about it now. So that means you know you can do this work if you feel like you're drawn to it, or you're wondering, why do I feel like, things are just really deep and I can't get out of a funk. This is an opportunity to do that shadow work. And I'll say that to some people and they don't know what that means. And doing shadow work can be very simple or it can be incredibly in depth. It depends on what you want to do with it. So it just means looking at a problem or an issue that comes up and just addressing it, labeling it. You can work through it as much as you want to, or the simplest thing is to address it. It's like, yes, I know I feel this way when I am doing X, Y, and Z. Okay. So remember that for yourself. You get to choose how you want to use this. Now, boy, I know, bummer that I'm not talking about the new moon, but the point is like just like in the fall season when the leaves have to come off the trees, so the tree can then set those buds and get things ready for the spring when things are to grow and begin new. This is what we're doing in our own lives. I'm asking you to be aware. This is how I use astrology. This is how you should use it too, if you choose to, is to, address the deeper things that are going on in your life. You don't have to dig up everything. Just find the thing that seems to be the most nagging and work through that. You don't have to do it all at once. Just do one step. It will come up while the moon is balsamic in the sign of Scorpio. Yeah, I know. It's like, okay. So as we're moving forward to the new moon in Sag, take your time to process, to clear, create that space so we can then shift those gears. We can have space, shifting gears to move forward, have space so we can start using this Sagittarius energy that is present now. So let's get to December 1st. And here is that new moon in Sagittarius. And so what do we want to do with that? So with the new moon in Sagittarius, this encourages us to explore, to grow, to experience life, to get into our more authentic position, right? What is authentic to me? Because Sagittarius is the truth if it's nothing at all. I mean, the truth just is right out there. Sagittarius also is represented by us, taking new classes or traveling to some place you've never been. Even if, like, I've never been to California, I'm pretty sure that would be quite an experience for me. I'm New Hampshire Yankee my whole life. All right, I lived in New Mexico for a few years, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, just it doesn't have to be that you're going to foreign countries. You certainly can to experience and have your eyes opened, but you can go to different areas, go to different things you've never been to, so you can experience something from a different perspective. Sagittarius wants that bigger picture. Sagittarius wants us to explore, to play, to learn and live authentically, and to really enjoy that adventure. Those are the key qualities of what Sagittarius represents and goals and intentions you can set in your life for this new moon, right? Teaches us to embrace life fully and have a lot of experience and fun with it. I love the Sagittarius energy. I'm a Gemini, so it's opposite my sign. I absolutely love it. So that is what we get to do with that. Now, during this new moon, Mercury is retrograde. And I find it's important for us to look at when Mercury will be at 9 degrees. Now, it was at 9 degrees early in November. So we won't worry about that because the new moon hadn't happened yet. But I'm going to put up, first off, these are the two. Let me get my face out of the way. And I'm going to make sure I am still sharing the screen I want to share. Yes, I am. Just making sure. This is when Mercury goes retrograde at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. I'm not doing a Mercury and Sag video this quarter. I just can't get to it. I've been doing a lot. Just finished my yearly forecast, and that is for sale on my website. Come and support me there. I would love that. Thank you. That would be appreciated. I'll put the link in the written forecast for that. So here's where it ends on December 15th at 6 degrees. This is where it starts on November 25th at 22 degrees. All right. And so back to the new moon. And so the forecast, I mean, when Mercury is retrograding during this new moon intention, it feels like that's a little like a snag in the whole mix, right? Because it kind of can be, but it just gives us an extra layer, right? So we're going to focus on what that extra layer is. And with Mercury retrograde in Sag during this new moon, from the 25th of November to the 15th of December, it highlights the importance of taking our time, revisiting, right? I know it is when is it exact again? Did I say December 9th? I didn't say it. It's exact on December 9th and December 21st. So as you write down your intentions for this new moon around December 1st, by the time we get to the 9th and the 21st, especially on December 9th, since Mercury will be retrograding back to that 9 degrees of Sagittarius, that's when we're going to revisit and rethink, and we might refine what our goals are. So December 1st, 2nd, whenever you like to write down your goals and your intentions for that new moon. When December 9th, when Mercury gets back to 9 degrees of Sagittarius, I would say we all have an opportunity to refine what it is what goals we set. And then by the time December 21st comes around, when Mercury comes back for another visit to that 9th degree, then we'll have an opportunity to really say, this really resonates with me, and this is what I want, and this is where I want to head. So that Mercury retrograde is a really great opportunity for that to happen. Yeah. So I love that for us. Now, we also have, as you can see down here, we have this squaring Saturn and opposite Jupiter. So that's that's additional stuff as well. So the squares create a little bit of tension. The squares and oppositions, they get our attention, So as this new moon squares Saturn in Pisces and opposes Jupiter in Gemini, who's retrograde, it gives the Saturn influence is asking us and showing us how we could potentially take our dreams and be more stable with them, right? Saturn always stabilizes things and slows things down and helps us have a little more patience for that long-term growth. Sag is known for just going for it big. Go big or stay home is what Sagittarius says. So since it is square Saturn, as an applying aspect, it gives us a chance to maybe go a little slower. Having that retrograde goes a little slower as well. Mercury retrograde opposite Jupiter retrograde, and then that new moon right there opposite Jupiter. Yeah, this gives us a chance to take it a little bit slower. Jupiter's the ruler of Sagittarius. Jupiter's the ruler of this new moon, right? And Jupiter is retrograde. So that means it is not about the big blow up, like throwing a bunch of gasoline on a fire. It's like starting the fire with really nice slow kindling and just slowly getting it going and building. So overall, what this tells me for all of these things, what else do I have here to look at? Oh yeah, and Mars is retrograde on December 6th. That's part of my weekly forecasts. I talk about those things over in Patreon. So in a nutshell, and not even in a nutshell, because I've just talked for about 15 minutes, we have an opportunity to learn and explore and get really excited about some new things. Some of the heavy-duty Scorpio stuff is behind us. Doesn't mean we don't have more other things in front of us, because we always do. But to have this light-hearted Sagittarius new moon, to me, I just like really want to embrace that, want to grab that with gusto and start setting goals and intentions. And again, since it is square Saturn opposite Jupiter with Mercury retrograde and those extra dates, The point of that is like we won't burn out. It's not like we're going to burn out fast. Sometimes we can do that with Sagittarius. So this is like it might light fast, but then we can have a slower burn. I know. A lot of analogies, a lot of metaphors in here. That's what I want to leave us with today. Forecast, all of it written on my website. Please join, please comment, like, share all of the stuff on social media. Every click, every comment, everything really helps this free content move. And you can welcome to support me. Memberships on YouTube, Patreon, all kinds of stuff to purchase on my website. I do classes and lectures and personal sessions. Anyways, that's it for the commercial. Thank you. Blessings, everybody, and namaste.